Okay, we're doing two for one today. So, another vlog. This one is going to be about my Saturn return. So you can see that my Saturn return is approaching. If I go forward one day, Saturn will be in Aries, and if I go forward 2 months, I will have my exact Saturn return. Already on April 14th. So yeah, I'm very much in the middle of it. And in fact, the Saturn return is going to be this entire 2026 because watch what happens if I fast forward. Saturn's going to station, then he's going to retrograde. He's going to come back to 7 degrees. Okay, that's in December of 26. And then he'll slowly inch away from the beginning of 2027. Ba 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 ba. But you can see that at the moment, I'm here. We are here. You can see how close it is. Okay. So here's a few things that are happening. I should bring in my sun actually and my Mars, just so that you can see that Saturn squares my Mars in Cancer, Cancer the family, and Saturn also makes an almost exact trine with my sun in the fourth house. So again, the family stuff. Um, and I'm dealing with a lot of family stuff during this period. One thing about the Saturn return is that you're closing out the first chapter of your life, which is childhood. And in childhood, you look up to the role models that have been given to you, which is your family. And it doesn't have to be only your family, but in the first place, it's your parents and your grandparents, and sometimes your extended family. And then there's also your coaches and your teachers and blah, blah, blah. But in my case, what I'm dealing with now during my Saturn return is just reflecting on how my family has failed me big time. And that's okay because that's life. And you just realize that these people didn't know better, didn't have a better upbringing themselves to be kind and to be good guides. And in particular, recently I've been really upset with my grandfather, my uncle, and my dad. So all the men in my family. Very true to Saturn being in Aries. I guess some people have to deal with their moms or their grandmothers. My grandma also, but yeah. Yeah, just feeling like all of those male role models were cruel, they were mean, they were humiliating, they were demeaning. They used whatever power they had to make me less. And I think sometimes they also showed love, but for me, love is empty when it's unstable and inconsistent, and when it's accompanied by being an asshole. And that is what consistently stays with me in my mind, especially about my grandpa and my uncle, that um, they always thought they were smarter than everyone and that they have the right answer and that whatever they tell you is the truth and you better listen. And always it comes with their loud tone and their loud voices. And when I reflect on all of this loudness and their insistence and their force, I feel like these guys are losers. These guys are losers. And I can't believe that as a kid I looked up to these people, because now looking back, I feel like, wow, I really thought that they were like, but now I see that they're just people that didn't figure out, um, don't know their place, and no one put them in their place, kind of. And that's okay, you know. I just deal with it, and I adapt. I change how I behave basically. And so now I'm at a point where of course they can't really harass me or bully me or make me smaller because I stand up for myself quite well. But I have to bury my childhood. And that is what I feel during the Saturn return period, is I'm just letting go of everything that happened to me and just understanding how life is, becoming much more realistic about all of it. And the other thing is like survival. I have to at this point survive. I've lost the protection of my parents. I've lost the protection of my mother. She still sent me money recently, and I really feel like that's kind of we're towards really approaching the end of that because I don't even want to get any help from her. I want to be the one to be helpful, and that's why I keep showing up online. And no matter how hard it is, and I take these long pauses in between because I'm frustrated with what's happening on the internet, but I start to recognize that there's no other way for me. I have to do this. I have to keep showing up. I have to. If I'm gonna survive in this world, the only way I can do it is by trying to do something, even if it has no result, and even if it has no result for a long time. This is what I can do. This is my skill set. This is what I'm really good at. It's the astrology. And so I have to get up every day and make it happen by making these videos, by making the TikToks, by posting on threads, by building websites. I don't know what it's going to take. I just see that whatever passive behavior I've had in the past, thinking that things are just going to line up very easily. It doesn't work that way. There is this long period of tremendous struggle, which I'm in the middle of right now, where there's not much reward. There's only work, work, work. And I don't get noticed, and I feel humiliated, and I feel humbled, and I feel small, and that's just how it is. So there's a lot about my identity that is transforming during this period, where I become the adult, and the adult is the one to make money, to make their own payments, to have their own house, maintain their own house, to take care of other people, to be a role model for other people. I'm reminded recently I was in Hamburg visiting some family, and there's my little cousins. And I just love being with my little cousins. I love being with kids. I'm good with kids. That's another thing that it comes very naturally to me. And that's part of what made me realize like what a shitty childhood I had and what terrible role models I had. Because when I was there, I was a good freaking role model for those kids. I was completely attentive. I totally understand my position as the adult and what that means. Um, I'm very nice with them. I have my boundaries also, but I would never force any of my opinions onto them. I just take interest in them. I just ask them. I just want to get to know them and also support them in any of their endeavors and also guide them, away from certain things. Um, for example, being on the phone nonstop. And already that has to do with how their family is structured and how they don't have too much warmth in their family. And that's a whole other thing. But, again, I felt how I want to be a parent. And I guess I won't have kids of my own, but I love parenting. I love disciplining children. It's so easy and it's so clear how it's supposed to be done. Um, and I hope that I'll have a chance to do more of that. Maybe not with my little cousins, maybe with my little cousins, but child rearing comes very naturally to me. And it didn't before. I didn't take too much interest before. I was too focused on myself. And now I feel like, yeah, but I'm an adult. And these kids need real adults. They need real adults that know how to deal with children. Because I'm sorry, but their parents don't. Their parents, I guess, didn't have enough time to figure out their own crap so that they can start being really intentional with the kids. There's a lot of mess going on there. And I also have to accept that, that they have their own fate to work through with their parents and whatever. And so that's also part of life is just understanding how things are and not trying to make a mess or trying to make things too loud or out of proportion. You have to see where everything belongs and be very cautious and slow and observant. And all of this is really coming online for me during my Saturn return. The other thing, and I guess probably one of the most central things, is my relationship to my partner. I start to realize that if I want a stable and secure relationship, then I have to make it happen by meeting my partner's needs, taking him always into consideration, and not doing things that make him feel unstable. Therefore, I have to let go of a lot of my previous behaviors. One of them is, for example, wanting to date other people, or, you know, it can't be. There's no such thing as having sex with other guys anymore. Like, that's done. There's no such thing as flirting or dating other people, or that's finished. I want to have I love my partner. I love what we have together. I love what we've built over the past 2 years. And I just start to understand, like, you don't get to be totally free and independent in life, and you don't want to be. There's certain limitations that you choose for yourself because they're very good for you, and you learn how to move your energy in a different way. You learn how to stay with what's real. And in this case, to stay with my partner and not with the illusions of other people and having good sex with them and whatever. And the other thing is, I'm like probably almost every man. I grew up watching porn for decades. And I see how all of those porn images get in the way of having genuine intimacy with my partner. But see, I've spent almost 30 years moving my energy in the direction of porn. So of course it's really hard to just get out of that. But now I feel like, yeah, I don't want to watch porn anymore. It just doesn't make sense because then I can't really fully enjoy sex with my partner. And so, even though it's hard sometimes because that sexual energy is so strong, that's probably why so many men are creeps and rapists because they just can't handle their sexual energy. I'm telling you guys, the sexual energy is something crazy. I haven't figured it out, but I'm working on it. And yeah, it's like I'm done. I don't want to watch that stuff anymore. Even though it's hard, I want to find a different path for my energy. I'm used to that pattern, and now it takes a lot of energy to leave that pattern. There's so many imprints left psychologically from that pattern. But slowly, slowly, I see myself kind of leaving that whole porn environment. And of course, it's Saturnian because again, it's not like, ooh, I'm jerking off for free. Can't be that way anymore. It just doesn't feel right anymore. It just doesn't feel like my life is becoming more and more about being stable and being grounded and being rooted and being reliable, being trustworthy. I want to be someone that other people can 100% rely on and trust. And so there's a lot of things that I have to let go of in order to become that person. And of course, the first person that I need to be super steady for is my partner. My partner should feel amazing and safe and loved every single day, every moment. Even in moments of frustration, my partner should be treated with respect, with kindness, with warmth, with affection, with understanding, with consideration. And I didn't have that understanding before. As a kid, you don't know about any of that stuff. But as you graduate to adulthood, you realize, or I realize, yeah, if I want to have a peaceful life, it's very important that I'm a peaceful person that other people can really trust. So, yeah, those are a few of the transitions that are happening during my Saturn return. Yeah, and that's it basically. And I guess there's going to be much more coming, right? Because you can see this is my Saturn return year. I'm still kind of so I'm going to be making more videos about this as more stuff comes up. I guess this is just the initial comment that I would like to share with the world. So I'll stop the video here, and I will see you in the next vlog.